Yep. I'll go look in the mirror right now, spin around and say Author
Jumps
Blues.
out of CRT.
Just say his name backwards.
Hey,
times.
thanks, guys.
Be a giant bearded man next to me. Oh, there he
You
is.
missed Kid Niki. Sorry.
Yeah, almost.
Okay, now I think we're ready to go. So,
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna mute my mic and I'll just give me a countdown for 3, 2, 1, and I'll start.
all right then. Well, 3, 2, 1, go.
So this is Kid Niki 3, which the first two Kid Niki games look remarkably similar, but this one's actually quite different in the sense that they basically redesigned all of the controls in the game and made it feel like you're playing a game and not like a Let's Play. Which is pretty cool because now Kid Niki's got all sorts of cool mechanics, like being able to spring off of walls with his walking stick and pogo like Uncle Scrooge McDuck, and shooting projectiles, sliding. In Mega Man 6 now.
Yeah, wow. There's a ton of movement mechanics here, which always makes for a great speedrun.
Yeah, it's a huge, just straight upgrade from Kid Niki 2, which was just running around and randomly spinning a stick. Also, this is basically Zelda 2 100% all keys, because you have to hunt all over the place for keys to open these dumb doors.
Keys do open doors.
They do.
Perfect.
At least they've been known to.
Unless, well, sometimes they're bats, if you're in Zelda. Keys.
So you can see him here doing a little trick. Instead of actually moving all the platforms into place, what he did was he got them fairly close and then springboarded off the wall. This boss here will decide for himself when he wants to be able to be attacked, only once his flame shield goes away, and he can only be attacked until he brings the flame shield back up. You'll notice that a lot of times, even though he'll take a lot of damage for doing so, he will attack right up on the boss. That's because the projectiles only do 1 pip of damage, but the actual bow staff itself will do 2, and if he does his little charged up spin attack, he's briefly invincible and also does, I think it's 4 units of damage. But that one involves a charge, which leaves you fairly vulnerable while you're doing that, so. Nice. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I was warned that he's playing a modified version of the game, you know, to satisfy the censors. The censor board for Best of NES, very critical people. These little white characters that are shooting blue fireballs, their sprite's slightly different in the actual version of the game. This one's just been edited slightly. Typically, they're holding something in their hands, instead of just randomly thrusting into the air.
If I was on the censor board, it'd be totally different.
I know. That's what I've been telling them. So you got a pretty good pattern here. The spike ball that's right in front of that first door that he had to unlock underwater, if it's low, it can be intensely frustrating because you'd want to just damage boost through it, but unlike a lot of other games, when you damage boost in this game, you're completely immobile, so it's basically useless to damage boost in this game. Gotta go pick up more keys. More keys for the door god. The weird, one mechanic in this game that I think is pretty weird is that Niki can't actually jump out of water. Like if you just sit on the surface of the water, you can't get out of the water. You actually have to find a platform somewhere in water that you can jump off of. So like earlier in the stage, you may not have noticed, but if he had just swam up to the surface of the water, there's no way for him to climb out. But if he can find a platform to jump off of, then he can get out of water. So you can see him right here basically doing exactly that. He has to find somewhere to jump off of. This boss here is fairly straightforward. He only really has 2 attacks. He either jumps in the air and shoots something at you, or he jumps in the air and dives at you. And if your timing's pretty good, if he dives at you, you can just use your charged up bow staff dance thing to deal pretty significant amounts of damage. And since you're invulnerable while you do it anyway, that seems to be the preferred method anyway. I love these flowers because they actually pull out a hand with a gun. So in this part right here, Kid Niki is actually swimming up a waterfall in a boat. The frustrating part of this is that if a log knocks you out of your boat, you can't. Even though you can jump back in the boat before it gets all the way back to the bottom, it falls at the same speed as the log, so the log will still be overlapping it. And so if you climb back into the boat, you're just going to get knocked right back out again. So you have to wait until it gets all the way back to the ground. In this stage you can see he's using the pogo stick ability to keep from taking damage on spikes. That's pretty much it. One use. It's fairly slow moving, but does prevent you from taking any damage on spikes, which is pretty nice. Not dying tends to be fairly useful for speedruns. This is one of those games where the slide mechanic, you actually can't cancel out of your slide. So if the platform is actually smaller than your slide length, you can't slide just to save time. You have to walk it out. Another fairly straightforward boss. It's a log we use as a wooden hammer to smash the ground, and if you're standing on the ground when he smashes with his hammer, he'll damage you no matter where you're standing. So the majority of this stage takes place up in the clouds, which is fun and all, except for the part where if you fall off any of the clouds, then you have to climb all the way back up there from the very start to do it again, so that's a treat. That was a good recovery there. You got the little desk fans up in the clouds that prevent you from moving fast, you know, against them. So this is a neat little game that doesn't really have a big community around it. as far as I know, Infinite's actually the only one who runs it. So if you're looking for a fun little game with good mechanics, you should check out Kid Niki 3. There's a few people who have run Kid Niki 2, to my knowledge. I don't know how many people have run Kid Niki 1, but Kid Niki 3 is very clearly the superior game, and it's sad that it's such an untapped one. This boss is a nightmare. The notable feature of this game is that you don't jump by hitting up, which I think makes it better than quite a few of the games we've seen recently in Best of NES. Oh, that was rough. Nice.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess we're seeing some marathon nerves showing themselves here.
Yeah, this is a challenging game just due to the fact that a lot of your planning goes around health management and getting hit in mid-air by an enemy and kind of upsetting your pattern can really change that drastically. So a lot of the bosses, the ideal situation is you go in with more or less full health and you just tank a lot of damage on them so that you can get in their face and deal extra amounts of damage. So anytime that you go into a boss with anything less than full damage or full health, all bets are off. As I mentioned earlier, your slide distance in this game is fixed. You can't cancel out of it early. So as you might imagine, sliding into a tunnel with spikes, you have to really know exactly how long your slide length is so that you know that when you end, you're not going to be standing underneath spikes. And this is the first stage where the game decides that the quick-moving platforms weren't quite enough, and they need to put spikes underneath them and on the bottoms of the platforms as well. That's a tough little pillar to clear there. That one that had spikes on the top of it. This boss has a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? A pretty easy pattern to read, but the problem is that she's completely invulnerable for a large percentage of the time. And so if you want to actually be able to deal damage to her, you have to basically sit and spam shots on her so that you can hit her during the brief periods of time where she's not invulnerable. Which, as you might imagine, would put you very easily in harm's way. This stage has one of the most frustrating sections in it. There are a few jumps in this stage where it seems okay for a speed run. You kind of expect to have these sort of weird jumps for the purpose of sequence breaking, but there's one jump in this stage that's such an insanely tight window, and it's very obvious that it was the intended route, so it's kind of surprising that it would put such a tight, frustrating jump in as the actual intended route. What do you mean this game wouldn't be enjoyable to play? This game is a delight. It has so much whimsy and doppelgangers. Now is not the time to call my taste of games into question.
Author believes in quantity over quality.
I believe in quantity and quality. Why sacrifice one for the other? Why not do both? Why get really good at one game when you could get really good at all games?
You got me there, I'm stumped. Speechless. Can't think of any words. Can't talk at all.
So this transition right here, jumping from this wheel to the next one, is the hopefully one of the most frustrating jumps in the game. And keep in mind this jump that he's trying to make is the intended path. So and the random spawns don't exactly help.
Author, your poor Skype connection.
Is my Skype eating it?
A little crackly.
Ouch.
I hear you okay, so it might be on your end.
Could be my
Boom. Boom. Get wrecked. Position
Yep, it
heal
is. You
thyself.
sound fine.
That's just what I sound like. So we're going into the final boss fight, which if you absolutely love the rest of the game, and I'm certain that you did, this boss fight is just the cherry on top. So he just got done with that phase where you basically have to just sort of chase him through these platforms and attack him as you go while he fires homing shots at you. But wait, there's more! The nice thing about this fight is that pretty much every fight up until this point in the game The strategy has been get in the boss's face so that you don't have to use the incredibly weak projectile, and the final boss fight basically makes it impossible for you to get in the boss's face. So now you really get to experience the pain of only doing 1 pip of damage per attack. That's fine.
All right, that was a little under 1940, probably like a 1938.
It's a way underestimate.
Thank goodness.
Us? Couldn't remember
that's
if there
right,
was
yeah.
another phase that I wasn't remembering. I was kind of unsure. Time?
Time? That's how all speedruns are timed. Someone had a record once just because they were the fastest one to hit the button. It's weird.
The dream, man. That's the dream. When your speedrun gets so optimized, it's just down to who has the best reflexes.
Yeah. So we're gonna get Infinite Mystery back in here. Talk a little bit. Someone had a record once. Sounds like he's here.
That was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
That's a tough game, though. I mean, it looks really simple and straightforward, and it just isn't.
I think I'm just sad about the 2 deaths. Could have been better.
Yeah, but both of your deaths were on bosses. I mean, if you don't go in there with the perfect amount of health, you're basically just flipping a coin.
Sure. Thank you, Offer Blues, for commentating the game. And thank you, Best of NES, for having me play the game for you. That was Kid Niki 3.
Thanks,
All
a
right.
real fun-looking game.
Yeah,
And
thank
look
you very
forward
much.
to next time when Infinite Mystery plays Kid Niki 7. The Kid Nickiest.
That's the subtitle. The official
That is,
subtitle.
that's the official subtitle. Ship it!